gonna show you guys how to make a under the cabinet switch with either some LEDs and either an 18650 or a 21700 cell. This one happens to be a Samsung 4000 milliwatt amp hours cell, and we're gonna put it under the sink, not under the sink, but in the little cabinet area, so we can actually turn the switch on and not be in complete darkness. First thing we're gonna definitely need is this 3D printed cell holder, so it can actually like chill on the wall and not be literally like wired to not wired to the battery and stuff like that. It can actually be placed on nickel strips, so you can put like a nickel strip on the top and a nickel strip on the bottom, and that will complete the circuit, and you just have to wire in the switch and put in LEDs, and it should light up. Obviously, I mean it would light up. I think they're 12 volt LEDs, so, and this is obviously not 12 volts, so it's 3.7 or technically like 4.2 at the top, but I know it does turn on because I have tested them before. So the first thing you guys are gonna need to do is print this out. If you don't have one, have a 3D printer, you can probably just do it out of, honestly, cardboard, but remember, cardboard and stuff is flammable. So if you can find something like non-flammable and make it out of that, it's like, look how like the dimensions are really small, you know. So it's very easy to make this. Alright, some people made a good point of how do you know when like a battery is good versus bad. Probably the easiest way is to grab a multimeter and test the voltage of it. Actually, let me set this up for you guys so you guys can see what it would look like. There we go. So it doesn't matter what poles you touch to, once it's going to show negative versus positive. I don't know if you guys can see that the voltage is dropping at an extreme rate. Like, it's only giving me like 2.5, and 2.5 is below 3, so this is not a good cell, guys. Yeah, a normal cell will just chill at, like, let's say if it's at a storage voltage like 3.4, it'll chill between like 3.4, might have a little voltage fall off at like 3 point whatever, like, I don't know, like 3.41 or 3.46 or whatever the case may be. But this is not a good battery. I think this was a Sony battery, but this one was sitting in the cold for a long time, and as you guys can see, it didn't make it. Alright, getting into this. First thing you guys are going to do, cut up some nickel strips. Really not that hard, you know what I mean? You're going to need them like maybe about 1 inch, 2 inches long. You're going to fold them up. And you usually get like maybe 2, 3 creases, depending on how long it is. So it creates kind of a spring effect. And then you're going to use your finger, just bend it right in the middle. The nickel strip is very malleable. So this part, you're going to try to fit it onto the actual cell holder itself, so it can actually just bend over. And then we're going to hot glue that later in this video so it retains stability. But this part, it's very straightforward, very simple. You just put it on. I just kept messing up because I thought I was going to drop it and stuff like that. But as you guys can see, it just fits in very easily. The circuit should work. This is taking us back to 5th grade. And I'm going to actually show you guys how to test it. If it does work, take one of those little LEDs and look at that. The LED done turned on, you know what I'm saying? There's a little bit of light. That's how you know it's on and it's active. And so those nickel strips are working. So this is the part where you use your voltmeter to get it right, get it prepared to go on this circuit so you know how much juice is in the cell itself. You do not want to really take these cells under. I personally only go up to like 3.3, maybe 3.2 if I'm like trying to get home or something like that, if it's like an e-bike or something. But I usually keep it chill between like 3.2, 3.3. Going down that low is going down past 3 is very dangerous, and it can end up in thermal runaway, which is the battery potentially catching on fire. But in this part, I'm actually cutting off the LED wires because the wires that they do give you are very long. With that being said, the shorter the wire, the easier it would be to actually keep things more neater. And since I'm actually using 4 LEDs, they're all small little LEDs, actually all 12 volt LEDs. Yeah, so at this part we're twisting them up so they all go off together. Anode to anode, cathode to cathode, which is black to black, and in this case it's white and brown is the anode. Hopefully I said that right, but you guys know what I'm talking about. But so black is obviously negative, the other color is obviously positive. That's all you guys need to know. So after we're done twisting up, you guys see it, grab a little bit of heat shrink so we can keep this thing kind of neat. And when those wires, the Sony wires, you kind of want to put the heat shrink over to not restrict them, but just guide them and keep everything more neat. You know what I'm saying? Alright, yeah, now that we got it in, sometimes when you're working with small little wires, it gets tedious. It's not always the most simplest, but it just takes a second just to cut it off. Just be a little careful. Make sure you don't cut your wire off, because that is heartbreaking when you gotta restrip a bunch more wires and do it all over again. Alright, so we're gonna cut off the limit switch wires because those are incredibly long as well. So we're gonna strip those out. Getting all this stuff ready for tinning. Tinning is when you solder the ends of the, what's it called, the switches and the lights and stuff like that. And we're actually cutting off the voltmeter wire leads because they are also too long. Most stuff comes with wire leads way too long, but you gotta do what you gotta do. Strip them down. Make sure you can see that strip down the insulation. Make sure you see the actual inner part of the wire. You know what I'm saying? And then now we're at that point where we can get ready to start soldering and start tinning these things up and getting them ready to actually start going on that circuit. But like I said before, this is straight back to 5th grade. Battery, switch, light, or aka a load. And we all did it. And some people forgot about this, but it's more handy in our days now than it is ever, to be honest. But it's cool, man. All this stuff is so cool. The fact that this little Lion is capable of doing all this stuff, powering the voltmeter and these 4 LEDs. So now it's time to tin them up. Tinning is just putting solder on them, make sure there's no solder, because everything is all twisted up and stuff like that. So you just want to make sure everything stays together permanently. I mean, nothing's really permanent, but it makes it like very, very solid, in other words. But as you guys see, when you solder, it usually takes between like if it's like a tiny wire, like a second. But if you're doing like a bigger wire, usually like 3 to 5 seconds, and then a huge wire is like 5 to 10 seconds. But in this case, like 3 to 5 seconds. Like anything like, I think like 6 gauge. Like 6 gauge, you're gonna need like a lot of time on that thing. But if you're doing anything below 10 gauge, you should have no problems. 3 to 5 seconds. These are the helping hands. You don't need this. This makes things a little bit easier. Hence the name Helping Hands. This is actually from Harbor Freight. I've seen a bunch of people with this, had a little microphone on and stuff. Not microphone, magnifying glass. So at this point, I'm just putting the voltmeter, the LEDs to the positive end of the limit switch. And the positive end is usually like the second lead. The first lead usually goes to the positive. I'm not sure how it would work in reverse. I'm not sure if it would damage the circuit or not, but I'm not sure if it would even work at all. But yeah, so that's what it looks like, guys. Nothing crazy, but it looks crazy because of all the crazy colors and the battery and the battery cell holder and stuff like that. But now it's time to solder directly to the nickel strips, and I'm not gonna lie, it's best to use some tweezers. I'll show you guys what happens in a little bit when you're not using tweezers, because you can burn yourself. You can burn yourself real easily. And then now we're on the second one, because you obviously have to do the positive and the negative lead. And look at me trying to put the solder too close, and I touch it, and look at that, burn myself. Jimmy caught Jimmy's attention real quick. But yeah, yo. Now that everything's all soldered up, well, you have to pre-tin them. The tinning part is the hard part, because it's just straight putting hot metal on like a cold surface, and it just gets extremely hot really fast. It's really small. But that's when you hit it with the tweezers, hold everything together, and you just put the wire on top of the nickel strip. And it's really not that hard. It's just like, you don't want it to roll over on you. It's just, that's what the tweezers are for and stuff like that. Because you can always bend it any other way you want, because it's really malleable. Remember that. But this is the part where you hot glue it. The hot glue is very straightforward. You just put the hot glue, make sure your contactors are on the contact patch. Your positive and your negative. The positive sometimes a little bit harder to angle it, but the negative is way easier. It's a huge bottom round piece. You really can't mess it up unless it's like barely touching, because then you'll have like a weird short-circuiting circuit. But I know you guys want to see how this is gonna look more towards the end, but we're almost there. Half the time it's just cleaning things up after you get everything working in working order and stuff like that. But here we go, guys. Oh. Yeah, half the battle is just holding this thing, not dropping it, not getting the hot molten glue on you, burning yourself up. It only burns for like 5 seconds, but it's just the most annoying thing. It gets all over. It's so goofy, and it's just always gets on you. But here we go, moment of truth, guys. Putting the lithium ion in there. No smoke, nothing. Everything good. Oh, let's switch hands so you guys see it. Kaboom! 3.43 volts, and all the LEDs are on. Obviously, we're in a well-lit room, so it's not crazy bright. But if you put it in the cabinet, it's bright enough. Because you don't want it to be, like, blindingly light. You just want to have enough light just to, like, be able to grab your syrup and not hot sauce for your pancakes. That's the only reason I did this, y'all. I grabbed some syrup when I thought I was grabbing hot sauce. I ruined my dish. Never, don't worry about that. But there it is, guys. That's what it looks like. The simple circuit, just made out of lithium ion. Everything's chill, you know. Oh yeah. Now the time to put it in the cabinets. Give it a test. Time to show you the rest. Oh yeah. This ain't a Ragu commercial, but everything else looking nice and light in there. Yeah. Make sure you guys subscribe, like, and comment. Appreciate you guys for watching. More content coming soon. Peace.